staff and the family. I have to do it. They gave me 4 of the most wonderful years of my whole life. And I bet there are a whole lot of people in this room who could say the same thing. So thank you, Chuck and Megan and everybody else who comes together to make the 4 years that you're here wonderful, and even more, you know, the 30 to 50 to 80 years after. It's a beautiful family and a great community, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. So thank you very much for all these years and all the good times and all the great memories. Thank you to Monica and Terry for pulling all this together, being fabulous hosts for the weekend, and Terry for the great introduction. Thank you, Chancellor Thorpe, for your service to North Carolina and to this university. I am proud of you, and I appreciate you, and if you need something to do in a couple of months, I have pigs and chickens that are always you can come and you know, chip in anytime. It's fun. And a whole different kind of dirt. In general, I'd say that in this room and in this audience, I'm not an obvious choice as a keynote speaker. I chase pigs and chickens during the day. We killed chickens all day. You know, there are 100 chickens in nice little plastic bags right now that started their lives walking around this morning. So I'm not your normal keynote speaker. When Megan emailed me and said, "Jamie, we want you to be our speaker," I thought she meant that, you know, I was going to be the welcome speaker. I would be the southern accent y'all heard when you got here that said, "Welcome back, y'all." I was always that person as an undergrad when all the Yankees from Hotchkiss and Andover brought their parents down for weekends. They would roll me out and say, "See, she really sounds like this." So that's what I thought I was going to do tonight. And then Megan said, no, really. They want to hear what you do. And as Terry and Monica were talking, welcoming you, they talked about disconnect. That they hope that this weekend you can disconnect from your lives and from the rat race and the business world, and that's where I come in. I am the disconnect. I have maybe I'm the missing link. I've always wondered. But that's me. I have disconnected from the rat race and maybe not completely from the business world, but I've taken a different path. I'm not sure if y'all pay attention to all of the promotional materials that you get in the mail from the foundation. I know that Chuck and Megan really hope you do. But lately they've been sticking to this theme of more. You know, want more, do more, be more. And that speaks to me. I was an only child and an only grandchild, and wanting more and doing more and being more and never being told no was easy. It never dawned on anyone to ever tell me no. You know, I just kind of rolled through life. And if I wanted more books, I got more books. And if I wanted to win every contest in town, I did it. I could go more places and be more. And so it was easy for me growing up. And then I came to Carolina, and the Morehead Foundation made it possible for me to want more and do more and be more all over again. I wanted to take more honors classes than any freshman had ever taken in the history of the honors program, and I did it. And then I wanted to go to more parties and make more friends and be more places and do more, and I did it. And I have friends sitting in front of me right now who contributed to those parties and those good times. And I appreciate the effort y'all put into always helping me reach my lofty goals. But I did. I always wanted more. And when I left Carolina, I wanted more. At the end of school, when I was trying to make decisions about what I wanted to do with my life, I didn't just want to go to law school or get a job at Bain. I wanted to do more. I wanted to, leave the Virgin Islands on a boat or just do something. And my quest for more led me to Capitol Hill and an interesting stint there. That was wonderful, and I loved it. I was in my high heels and my tight skirts, and I was meeting people and making friends and doing everything I thought I wanted to do. And I even had, America's Golden Eagle on my business card. It should have been everything I ever wanted. But I still wanted more. At the end of the day, I just wasn't satisfied. I needed something more. And I thought at the time that I needed to be home. I needed the South. I needed my roots and my family. And so I came back to North Carolina thinking that, I'm going to go and work for this political party, and I'm going to help them dig up more dirt about bad guy politicians than anyone has ever dug up. And to no one's surprise, I wanted more than that very, very soon. So I ended up fundraising in a job that was wonderful. I ended up at the Museum of Natural Sciences in North Carolina with the goal of raising more money than a museum in North Carolina had ever raised, ever. And it was great. It was the perfect job for me. I was using my contacts in DC. I was close to my family. I had a job I shouldn't have had it at that young an age. I was trotting back and forth between DC and the General Assembly and the governor's office, and I was having so much fun, and my social life was a twirl, and it was so great, and I thought I was there. I thought I had made it, and I was in this place that I would want to be for the rest of my life, that I was building my career and my life, and I didn't think I needed more. And then this guy eavesdropped on my conversation at a cocktail party. And it all went straight down the drain. And he was a farmer. And his pickup line was that he had to go home early to kill chickens the next morning. And it worked. It did. I mean, I'm not even ashamed to say it worked. And here I am, 8 years later. And it something that my partner Richard was doing at the time spoke to me on a level that I wasn't prepared for, and I didn't know was going to happen. I grew up in eastern North Carolina. My family owned the farm supply in Franklin County, where I'm from and where my family's been for 10 generations. And so I had a front row seat growing up to see the complete decline and demise of small-scale farming in eastern North Carolina. And looking back, it was tragic. Families who had been supported for generations on small family farms completely dried up because they couldn't compete with the large-scale agribusiness that is developed in North Carolina. They couldn't compete with 30,000 pigs a day out of a processing facility in Tar Heel, North Carolina. They couldn't compete with monoculture GMO crops that are shipped from California to North Carolina. There was no way that these farmers and families could compete, and they just shut down. And I kind of watched it from the sidelines because then I was wanting more and doing more and being more and trying to get off to Carolina and leave all that behind. But I guess it was living back there the whole time in my subconscious. And I met Richard, and he just bought this farm in Hillsboro on the Eno River, and I started spending time out there, and it started dawning on me that I'd known for a long time that we were doing it wrong. That agriculture in America has gone wrong. There are war-torn countries in Africa that don't want food aid from America because they don't want their seed supply contaminated by GMO seeds from America. If people that have starving citizens turn down food aid from us, there's something wrong. So I knew, I noticed this. It was in my consciousness that we were doing things wrong, but I never had an opportunity to be a part of the solution. And when I met Richard, the solution was easy and available, and I could participate in something actively. I could plant turnips, and I could chase chickens and clean eggs and be a part of something different. And for us, we get a lot. I am astounded at how fascinating our story is to everybody. I mean, to the New York Times, to Bon Appetit. It's the constant influx of questions about how we do what we do and why we do what we do. They come every week, and at the end of the day, it's just it's us making an honest effort to make a life that's good for us and sustainable for the planet. So we started small. We were going out to the farm on weekends with Richard's kids, and we were growing some things for we own a restaurant in Raleigh and one in Durham. So we were doing things for the restaurants and for ourselves and for the kids, and then. At the end of the day, it became a question for us of if we can't do it, who can? If we can't make the step, we're already putting a ton of effort into shopping at Whole Foods and making sure that there's no preservatives in our food or there's no antibiotics in the feed that our chickens get. If we're putting this much effort into it, why don't we put all of our effort into it? Why don't we just do it? Let's move out here. Let's really do this thing. Let's dig in. Let's go in whole hog, if you excuse the pun. And that's what we did. We moved out to the farm. It's 55 acres on the Eno River in Hillsboro, Hillsboro. It's the real deal. It's the tiny farmhouse with the fields on the river with the swimming hole and a rope swing and everything. All the trimmings right there. And we raise animals and we raise crops and we deliver these products to our restaurants and to farmers markets, and we participate in our community, and our community gives to us, and we give back to the community, and it's the most rewarding thing I've ever participated in my whole life. And I know that the whole world can't do this. You know, not everybody is going to get up and leave their desk job and rush out and buy a farm and raise chickens and pick turnips. But for us, the answer was easy. It was a lifestyle choice for us, and it's something that, honestly, I've never looked back. There are days when I have, you know, pig manure on my forehead and have fallen down 3 times in slop, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, how can life smell this bad? But in general, at the end of the day, when I have cooked a meal for our interns and for my family, and I hear oh my gosh, this is the best pork chop I've ever tasted, you know, there's no reason to look back because people are happy and they're sustained. We get a lot of questions about, you know, how we make what we do possible, and partially it's because we have a very supportive family network. We have Richard's 4 children that can be workhorses at times, thank goodness. But we also are inundated with positive and eager and hopeful young people. Some of them Moreheads. I think we have had more Moreheads lately than Bain and JP Morgan combined. We have interns every summer. I had 3 this year, and they're all eager and hopeful and hardworking and thoughtful. And, you know, they're out there saving the world one organic collard at a time. And it's wonderful. And it gives me hope for the future, and it lets us share our lives. There's nothing I've ever done that lets me involve myself as directly with unusual things. I mean, a couple of Christmases ago, our dairy cow, Dora Welty, had a calf. Yes, all of our dairy cows are named after Southern authors. My degree is in Southern History and African American Studies, so I, in fact, don't have any experience in doing anything agricultural, but thank God for Google. So our cow had a baby on Christmas Eve, and her baby, Harper Lee, would not suck it. She just couldn't drink milk, and we thought, what are we going to do? So Harper Lee moved in, and she lived with us for almost a week inside our house, and we taught her to nurse. Richard was on the floor of our kitchen teaching this calf that weighed 60 pounds. It was much bigger than I ever imagined a calf was going to be, because this was our first calf ever. And she's, you know, while I was preparing Christmas dinner, Harper was learning to suckle in her kitchen. You know, and it was wonderful. And then, you know, who else can say they spent Christmas with a cow named Harper? And then, you know, last year, my favorite mama sheep, Isabel, had twin babies. And I was so excited because she's the most beautiful sheep ever, and I love her, and I'm more attached to her than I'm supposed to be to animals. And she had twins, and it was the coldest morning of the year, and the first one died immediately because it froze before it hit the ground. And so I was there to catch Popsicle when he landed. Because I was determined he wasn't going to die, so I caught him as he came out, and I rushed him inside, and we spent 2 days beside the wood stove with me nursing Popsicle back to life. And he lived. Now he's Pop Ram, and he does a great job with his herd of ladies, and I wouldn't have these stories, and I wouldn't have these experiences if I had stayed behind a desk. So, you know, it's moments like this when I can share these stories and let people know that there is something on the other side that is rewarding and wonderful. But also for me, it's great. You know, it's not where I thought 10 years ago, if you said, Jamie, this is where you're going to be. You're going to be, you know, chasing pigs and catching frozen lambs. I would have told you were crazy and maybe kicked you in the leg real hard. I certainly would have asked you to buy me a drink, but that's not. But I've ended up in a different place, and it's it's a really great place, and we, you know, it gives us an opportunity to be, again, a part of our community. We have these restaurants, and you know, we're able to sit at them on, you know, on a random weeknight and hear people talk about the food that we grew and raised, and you know, you hear a mom say that this, you know, this pork chop really is the most wonderful and flavorful pork chop. And it's because we raise animals that are, you know, they're heritage breed animals. They can walk. They live outside every day of their life. They can actually reproduce, which is stopped in modern agriculture in America. You know, if my Tom Turkey meets Tina Turkey and they, you know, do what they do, they can make a baby, which doesn't happen anymore in commercial agriculture. Which, you know, was a whole other tragedy. We raise crops that are heirloom varieties that somebody's great Aunt Bebe saved because it was the sweetest tomato she had ever eaten in her whole life. And you know, there's nothing genetically modified about it. They're just grown with love because somebody thought that this vegetable was a good thing. And we get to share it. We get to share it through our restaurants, and even more for me, we get to share it with our friends and our family. Every day I cook for the interns that are Moreheads or students from Harvard or Yale or whatever other smart young person has ended up on our farm. We prepare this food that we grew sustainably and in a better way, hopefully, than a lot of things are grown. And people, you know, they come away from that meal happy and satisfied and sustained and hopefully a little bit better. So that's, you know, that's where I have ended up. That's my disconnect and my you know, detour away from the rat race. So I just hope, I think that the goal of me being here was to just let y'all see a different side away from the normal, you know, laudable things that everyone in this room has probably done. And I hope that y'all go away from this evening and this weekend in general, you know, enjoying yourselves and having a great time in Chapel Hill, which I hope is a little piece of home for all of you. And I hope that you go away wanting more and understanding that more is maybe a little bit different and not always what you expected. So thank you.